The morning sky over Seoul turned dark without warning. It was Tuesday, just past 9 a.m. Daehan Kim looked up from his computer screen when the lights in his office flickered. At first, he thought it was just another power problem. Daehan was 42 years old and worked as an aerospace engineer at Korea's top research center. He pushed his chair back and walked to the window. What he saw made his blood run cold. A massive ship hung in the sky above the city. It was dark metal at least 2 kilometers wide. Its shadow covered downtown Seoul like an eclipse. "Everyone, come look," he called to his team members. They rushed to the windows. Someone turned on the office TV. The news showed the same sight over Tokyo, and Beijing, and New York, and London. "They're everywhere," whispered Taehyun, Daehan's assistant. The ship stayed still for almost an hour. People filled the streets staring up. Some ran for their homes. Others took photos. No one knew what to do. Then came the sound, a deep, thrumming noise that made windows shake and car alarms go off. On every ship, panels opened along the bottom. Smaller craft poured out. Hundreds of them. They were sleek and fast, shaped like arrowheads. They dived toward major buildings, government offices, military bases, TV stations. Daehan's phone rang. It was Jiwoo Park, his friend from university who now worked in quantum physics. "Daehan, are you seeing this?" Her voice was steady, but he could hear her fear. "Yes, it's happening all over the world. Meet me at the old lab, now. Don't tell anyone where you're going." The call ended. Daehan grabbed his bag and keys. "I need to check on my family," he told his team, the lie coming easily. "Go home if you can." Outside, chaos ruled the streets. People ran in all directions. Military jets screamed overhead, racing to meet the alien ships. Daehan watched as one fighter jet fired missiles at an alien craft. The missiles exploded before hitting it, stopped by some invisible shield. The alien ship fired back. A beam of blue light. The fighter jet simply came apart in midair. Daehan ran to his car. The roads were jammed with people trying to leave the city. He took back streets, driving on sidewalks when needed. The radio reported the same scene playing out worldwide. Unknown ships, superior weapons, military forces failing to stop them. 3 hours later, he reached the old research facility outside the city. It looked abandoned from outside, but that was by design. He parked in the woods nearby and walked the last half-kilometer. Jiwoo was waiting at the hidden entrance. She was small, with short black hair and intense eyes. Despite the situation, she looked focused. "You made it," she said, punching a code into a hidden panel. A door slid open in what looked like solid rock. "Come in quickly." Inside, the facility hummed with activity. About 20 people worked at computers and lab equipment. "What is this place?" Daehan asked. "I thought this site was shut down years ago." "Officially, yes," Jiwoo said. "Unofficially, some of us kept working here on projects too experimental for the main labs." She led him to a large screen showing news feeds from around the world. The aliens, if that's what they were, had taken control of major cities on every continent. "They call themselves the Marak," said a tall man working nearby. "They broadcast messages after taking each government center." "Daehan, this is Sung-Hoon Lee," Jiwoo said. "Former Special Forces." Sung-Hoon nodded but kept working. His fingers flew over keyboard controls, shifting between news feeds. "The Marak say they're here to incorporate Earth into their domain," Jiwoo explained. "They've done this before to other worlds." "How do you know that?" Daehan asked. "We've been monitoring deep space transmissions for years," she replied. "We picked up signals, learned parts of their language. We knew someone was out there, but we didn't expect them so soon." On screen, they watched as white flags rose over Washington, D.C., then Beijing, then Moscow. "They're surrendering," Daehan whispered. "What choice do they have?" Sung-Hoon said without looking up. "The Marak technology is far beyond current military capability. They've disabled our nuclear weapons somehow. Conventional weapons can't get through their shields." A woman entered the room carrying computer tablets. She handed them around. "This is my wife Minji," Sung-Hoon said. She's a neurobiologist. Minji had a calm presence. She pointed to data on the tablets. We've been analyzing the Marek broadcasts. Their neural patterns, visible in their speech and movement, suggest they have a very different brain structure than humans. Why does that matter now? Dehan asked. Because, Jiwoo said, it might be our only advantage. She led Dehan deeper into the facility, to a large circular room. In the center stood a machine unlike anything he had seen before. It had a core of swirling light, contained in crystal tubes and metal frames. This is what I've been working on for the past 8 years, Jiwoo said. A quantum field generator. It was designed for instant communication across any distance, but it might be our best weapon now. How can communication help against ships that powerful? Because it doesn't just transfer data, she explained. It can transfer states, quantum states, including neural states, potentially. Dehan began to understand. You think we can affect their minds? How? We don't know yet, Minji said, joining them. But it's a direction they won't expect. They're prepared for physical resistance, not quantum warfare. Sung-hoon entered with a tablet showing new footage. The UN building in New York. Diplomats from Earth's nations sitting across from tall, gray-skinned beings with 4 arms. The Marak. It started, Sung-hoon said. Formal surrender negotiations. How long do we have? Jiwoo asked. Days, maybe. They're moving fast. Dehan looked at the quantum machine, then at the images of alien ships dominating Earth's skies. Will this work? He asked Jiwoo. I don't know, she admitted. But we need to try something they won't expect. All our conventional weapons have failed. We need more information, Minji said. Samples of their technology, brain scans if possible. Sung-hoon nodded. I still have contacts in active units, special forces teams who haven't surrendered. They can get what we need. It's a long shot, Dehan said. Yes, Jiwoo agreed. But long shots are all we have left. Outside, they could hear the alien ships passing overhead, the sound of Earth being claimed by its new rulers. I'll help, Dehan decided. What do you need me to do? Jiwoo smiled for the first time that day. Design a delivery system, something small, that can be mass-produced and distributed worldwide. Something that can broadcast our quantum signal once we figure out what signal to send. I can do that, Dehan said. As night fell, the small team of scientists and soldiers began their work. Above them, Marak ships claimed Earth city by city. The invasion was nearly complete. The aliens believed they had won. They didn't know that humans had already started fighting back. 3 months passed since the Marak took control of Earth. Their flags now flew above every major city. Their soldiers patrolled the streets. Their voice came from all TV and radio stations. Under the old science building in Daejeon, Daehan Kim hadn't seen the sun in weeks. The underground lab they called Station Omega had become home to 37 scientists and former soldiers. They slept on cots between the machines. They ate from cans and packages smuggled in by supporters. Any progress? Daehan asked as he joined Jiwoo at her workstation. Dark circles marked her eyes. She hadn't slept in 2 days. Some, she said, pointing to data flowing across her screens. The quantum field is stable now. We can make it reach anywhere on Earth. But can it affect the Marak? Daehan asked the question they all worried about. Minji looked up from her lab table across the room. That's where I'm making progress. She waved them over. On her table lay a small device, partly biological, partly mechanical. It had been taken from a dead Marak soldier during a rare, successful resistance attack. This is part of their neural interface, Minji explained. All Marak wear these at the base of their skulls. It connects them to their command network. Like a radio? Daehan asked. Much more than that, Minji said. It's a direct brain link. And more importantly, it has unusual quantum properties. It responds to specific quantum states. Jiwoo's eyes widened. So my quantum field generator could potentially interface with their neural systems, Minji finished. Yes. Sung-hoon entered the lab, followed by 2 resistance fighters. They looked exhausted, their clothes dirty and torn, but they carried a metal case. "We got it," Sung-hoon said, his voice tight with controlled excitement. A complete neural interface from a Marik officer. He opened the case. Inside was a larger version of the device on Minji's table. It glowed softly with blue light. "It's still active," Minji gasped. "Yes," Sung-hoon said. "3 good people died getting this. It better be worth it." Minji carefully removed the device from its case. "With this I can map their complete neural pathways, understand how they think." "How long?" Daehan asked. "A week, maybe less," Minji said. "But that's just to understand it. Creating something that can affect them will take longer." Sung-hoon checked his watch. "We don't have much time. The Marik are starting to round up scientists and engineers. They're taking them to work camps. Sooner or later they'll find this place." "What about the resistance?" Jiwoo asked. "The other groups fighting back?" Sung-hoon's face darkened. "Not going well. The Marik have started using heavier weapons, and they've brought in hunter drones that can smell humans from a kilometer away. We're running out of time," Daehan said. For the next week they barely slept. Minji worked on the neural interface, mapping the alien thought patterns. Jiwoo refined her quantum field generator. Daehan built small transmitters that could be hidden around Marik bases and ships. On the 8th day, Minji called them all together. "I've found something," she said. Her hands shook with exhaustion, but her eyes were bright. The Marik neural structure has a unique feature, a region of their brain that humans don't have. It controls their aggressive drive and their need to conquer. "And?" Sung-hoon pressed. "And it's remarkably sensitive to certain quantum frequencies," Minji said. "Frequencies we can generate." Hope filled the room for the first time in months. What would happen if we hit that part of their brain with the right quantum field? Daehan asked. "Based on my models," Minji said, "it would essentially shut down, not kill them. Just turn off that part of their thinking." "They wouldn't want to fight anymore?" Jiwoo asked. "In theory, yes," Minji said, "but we need to test it." Sung-hoon nodded. "I'll get you a test subject." 2 days later, he returned with 3 resistance fighters. Between them, they dragged a bound Marik soldier. The alien was tall and gray-skinned. It had 4 arms and large black eyes. It struggled against its bonds. "We had to sedate it twice," Sung-hoon said. "They're strong." They secured the Marak to a chair in a shielded room. Minji placed sensors on its head. Jiwoo prepared a small version of her quantum device. "Ready?" Jiwoo asked. Everyone nodded. She activated the device. For a moment, nothing happened. Then the Marak stopped struggling. Its black eyes blinked rapidly, its mouth opened and closed. "Is it working?" Daehan whispered. Minji checked her readings. "Brain activity is changing. The aggression center is showing reduced function." The Marak spoke. Its voice was calm now, almost confused. "Why am I here? Why would I fight you?" "It worked," Sung-hoon breathed. They spent the next day questioning the changed Marak. It told them everything about the invasion force, about the Marik plans to use Earth as a mining colony, about their fleet positions and command structure. "It's not just that it's not aggressive anymore," Minji explained later. "The change goes deeper. The very concept of warfare seems to have become foreign to it." "Can we scale this up?" Sung-hoon asked. "Hit all of them at once?" Jiwoo nodded slowly. "With enough transmitters placed near their main bases and ships, yes, I think we can. I can create what I call a harmony protocol, a cascading quantum effect that would spread through their neural network." "How long to build enough transmitters?" Sung-hoon asked. Daehan did quick calculations. 2 weeks to build, another week to place them worldwide. "Do it," Sung-hoon said. "I'll coordinate with resistance cells to position them." For the next 3 weeks, they worked without stopping. Daehan's team built hundreds of small quantum transmitters, each no bigger than a cell phone. Resistance fighters around the world received them through secret channels. They placed them near Marik bases, ships, and command centers. Meanwhile, above ground, the Marik tightened their control. Work camps filled with human laborers. Hunter drones swept the cities for resistance members. The alien commander, Nevis, prepared reports about Earth's successful pacification. The Marak had no idea what was coming. In Station Omega, Jiwoo made final adjustments to her main quantum generator. Minji programmed the exact neural pattern they wanted to induce in the Marak. Sung-hoon coordinated with global resistance teams, making sure every transmitter was in place. Status report, Daehan said, 3 days before their planned activation. Transmitters, placed at 89% of targets, Sung-hoon reported. Quantum field stable and calibrated, Jiwoo added. Neural pattern locked in, Minji said. But I've made one change. What change? Daehan asked. The pattern won't just stop their aggression, she explained. It will replace it with a drive for cooperation, for mutual benefit. They won't just stop fighting. They'll want to help. Daehan nodded slowly. Not revenge. Transformation. Exactly, Minji said. We're not just ending this war. We're making sure they never fight any war again. As they finalized preparations, news came that the Marak had located another resistance base. They were getting closer. We need to move up the timeline, Sung-hoon urged. They're going to find us soon. Daehan looked at his team. They were exhausted but determined. Humanity's last, best hope. Tomorrow, he decided, we activate at dawn. Dawn broke over a world ruled by aliens. In his command ship floating above what used to be New York City, Commander Nevis reviewed the daily reports. 6 months after arriving on Earth, the Marak control was nearly complete. But something bothered Nevis. The human resistance was not behaving as expected. They weren't attacking Marak soldiers or weapons. Instead, they targeted communication centers and data networks. It made no sense to Nevis. Commander, a junior officer approached. We've detected unusual energy readings from several locations. Nevis looked at the data. Small energy spikes too weak to be weapons. Probably just human power systems failing again. Ignore it, he ordered. Focus on locating the remaining resistance cells. Deep underground at Station Omega, Daehan checked the time. 5 minutes until activation. Around him, the team made final preparations. All transmitters reporting ready, Sung-hoon said. He looked at the global map on the main screen. Hundreds of small dots glowed on every continent, each representing a hidden quantum transmitter. Quantum field generator at full power, Jiwoo reported. Her hands moved over the controls of her machine. The crystal core pulsed with energy. Neural pattern loaded and verified, Minji added from her station. She had worked through the night, perfecting the pattern that would change the Marak forever. Daehan looked at his friends, at the people who had worked so hard for this moment. This is our only chance, he said. If this fails, there won't be time to try again. It will work, Jiwoo said with quiet confidence. Daehan nodded and looked at the clock. 1 minute. Across the world, resistance fighters waited near their placed transmitters, some hid in buildings overlooking Marak bases, others crouched in sewers beneath alien command posts. All watched the second hand on their watches. In Station Omega, Jiwoo began the final countdown. 10, 9, 8. On his ship, Nevis felt uneasy. Something wasn't right. He ordered a security scan of the area around his ship. 7, 6, 5. A Marak patrol spotted a human hiding near one of their bases. They raised their weapons and moved to capture him. 4, 3, 2. Sir. A Marak officer rushed to Nevis. We're detecting active devices all around our positions. 1. Activate, Jiwoo said, and pressed the final control. The quantum generator surged with power. The energy flowed through hidden networks to each transmitter. Across the world, the small devices activated simultaneously. Nothing visible happened. No explosion. No flash of light. Instead, the quantum field silently expanded from each transmitter, reaching every Marak within range. And then, the impossible. The Marak patrol chasing the resistance fighter stopped running. They lowered their weapons, looking confused. One by one, they set their guns on the ground. Above New York, on the command ship, Nevis felt something change in his mind. Suddenly, the idea of conquest seemed strange, almost incomprehensible. Why had they come to this planet to fight? Why would anyone want to control others by force? Across Earth, every Merrick experienced the same transformation. Soldiers stopped mid-battle. Pilots landed their ships without orders. Guards at human work camps opened the gates and helped the prisoners. In Station Omega, they watched on monitors as the reports came in from around the world. "It's working," Sung-hoon said in disbelief. "They're standing down everywhere." Minji studied the neural readings from their test subject, the captured Marak. "The pattern is taking hold. The aggression centers are completely reconfigured." Daehan turned to Jiwoo. "How far will this spread?" "The quantum effect is self-propagating through their neural network," she explained. "It will reach every Marak in the solar system within hours." Above major cities, huge Marak ships that had loomed menacingly for months began powering down their weapons. Communication channels filled with confused Marak voices, trying to understand what had happened to them. "Sir, should we fire on the human cities?" a Marak weapons officer asked Nevis. The commander tried to give the order but found he physically couldn't form the words. The very thought of causing harm now felt wrong in a fundamental way. "No," Nevis said finally. "Contact the human leaders. Tell them we wish to talk." Sung-hoon's communication system lit up with incoming messages. "You won't believe this," he said. "The Marak commander is requesting a meeting with human representatives. He wants to discuss peace terms." "Not just peace terms," Minji corrected, still monitoring the neural changes. "Based on these readings, they want cooperation, partnership." Daehan could hardly believe it had worked. "We need to move carefully," he warned. "Just because they can't fight doesn't mean they can't be dangerous in other ways." "Agreed," Sung-hoon said. "I'll arrange a secure meeting." 3 days later, Daehan sat across from Commander Nevis in a neutral location, a conference room in Switzerland. The Marak leader looked different now. The harsh lines of his face had softened. His 4 hands were folded calmly on the table, not reaching for weapons. "We know what you did to us," Nevis said. His voice was not angry, just stating a fact. "You changed our minds." "Yes," Daehan admitted. There was no point denying it. "Why didn't you simply destroy us when you had the chance?" Nevis asked. "Because that's not who we want to be," Daehan replied. "Destroying an enemy just creates more enemies. We wanted to show there's another way." Nevis was quiet for a long moment. "The change feels strange, but not wrong. I remember wanting to conquer, to control. Now those desires seem meaningless." "What do you want now?" Daehan asked. "To understand, to learn, to help repair the damage we caused." Nevis looked directly at Daehan. "Will you help us learn how to live without war?" Across Earth, similar scenes played out. Marak soldiers worked alongside humans to rebuild damaged cities. There, advanced technology once used for weapons was repurposed for healing and construction. Not everyone trusted the change. Many humans wanted revenge for what the Marak had done. But as days passed with no sign of violence from the aliens, more people began to accept the new reality. At Station Omega, now operating in the open, Jiwoo monitored the quantum field strength. "The effect is stable," she reported. "The neural changes are permanent as far as I can tell." "What about their fleet?" Sung-hoon asked. "The ships beyond Earth?" "They've all been affected," Jiwoo confirmed. "The field propagated through their linked neural network exactly as we hoped." Minji joined them, carrying new test results. "Something unexpected is happening," she said. "The Marak aren't just losing their aggression, they're developing new neural pathways, enhanced empathy, cooperative problem-solving abilities. They're evolving," Daehan realized. "Yes," Minji agreed. "And rapidly." Daehan looked at the monitor showing Marak and humans working together around the world, former enemies becoming partners. "We did it," he said quietly. "We didn't just end this war. We made sure they'll never fight any war again." And maybe, Jiwoo added, we changed ourselves in the process too. 1 year passed since the day the Merrick changed. The large ships that once darkened Earth's skies now floated peacefully, many converted into joint living and research spaces. The weapons had been removed, replaced with gardens and observation decks. In Geneva, Switzerland, the United Earth Council held its first official meeting. Human representatives from every nation sat alongside Merrick delegates in the Grand Hall. Large windows let in natural light. Plants from both worlds decorated the space. Daehan Kim entered the hall, feeling strange in his formal suit. He was used to working clothes in the lab. As head of the Earth-Marak Scientific Exchange, he had a front-row seat at the historic gathering. Nervous? Asked a familiar voice. Navas, the former Marak commander, now stood beside him. No longer. Wearing military armor, Navas was dressed in a simple blue robe that accommodated his forearms. A little, Daehan admitted. I never thought I'd be a diplomat. None of us expected to be where we are now, Navas said. I certainly never imagined working alongside species I once sought to conquer. The council meeting began. Leaders discussed plans for shared technology, cultural exchange programs, and environmental restoration. The Merrick offered their advanced technology to help clean Earth's oceans and air. Humans shared their art, music, and literature, which fascinated the Marak, who had focused only on military and technical advancement for centuries. After the meeting, Daehan visited the new research center in what used to be Station Omega. Now, it was a bright, open facility where human and Marak scientists worked together. Jiwoo Park led him through the labs. The integration is going better than expected, she said. Marak scientists have incredible technical knowledge. Combined with human creativity, we're making breakthroughs every week. In one lab, Jiwoo showed him their latest project. We've adapted Marak energy systems to work with Earth's power grid, clean energy for everyone, at a fraction of the cost. Any problems with the neural modifications? Daehan asked. None, Jiwoo assured him. Minji monitors a test group daily. The changes are stable and seem to be permanent. Speaking of Minji, she and Sunghoon now ran the Harmony Protocol Oversight Committee. Their job was to ensure the technology that changed the Marak would never be misused. The committee included both humans and Marak, all committed to protecting the delicate peace. We've placed the core technology in a secure vault, Minji explained when Daehan visited their office later that day. It requires both human and Marak authorization to access it. Could it be used on humans? Daehan asked the question that had worried many people. No, Minji said firmly. It was specifically designed for Marak neural patterns. It would have no effect on human brains. Good. Daehan nodded. That knowledge should be kept safe. Not everything was perfect. Some humans still distrusted the Marak, remembering the invasion and the months of occupation. Some Marak struggled to adapt to their new neural reality, confused by the sudden change in their basic nature. Sunghoon Lee led a program helping both species adjust. Former resistance fighters worked alongside former Marak soldiers, rebuilding communities and forming unexpected friendships. It's strange, Sunghoon told Daehan over lunch one day. A year ago, I was planning how to kill as many Marak as possible. Now I'm teaching them how to play soccer. Do they like it? Daehan asked. They're terrible at it, Sunghoon laughed. 4 arms but only 2 legs, but they keep trying. That's what matters. 6 months later, the first joint human Marak space vessel was ready for launch. Named Harmony, it would travel to the Marak homeworld, carrying diplomats from Earth. Daehan stood on the observation deck, watching Earth become smaller as they left orbit. The blue planet looked peaceful from space, showing no signs of the conflict that had nearly destroyed it. Beautiful, isn't it? Said Jiwoo, joining him at the window. She had been selected as the scientific ambassador for the mission. Yes, Daehan agreed. Hard to believe where we were just 18 months ago. The Marak home system has 7 habitable worlds, Jiwoo said. All were conquered and integrated into their empire. I wonder how they'll react to their changed brothers and sisters. That question was answered 3 weeks later when they arrived. at the Marak home system. At first, the other Marak reacted with alarm. Their warships surrounded the Harmony, weapons ready. But then something unexpected happened. The transformed Marak from Earth established direct neural links with their kin. The quantum effect that had changed them began to spread, flowing through the established neural network that connected all Marak. "It's happening again," Minji reported, monitoring the neural patterns. "The change is propagating through their entire species." Within days, the Marak Empire began a peaceful transformation. Weapons were powered down, conquered peoples were freed. The focus shifted from expansion to cooperation. 2 years after Earth's invasion, Dahan stood on yet another planet, watching aliens and humans work together to build something new. The newly formed Galactic Cooperation Council included representatives from 23 species, many of them former victims of Marak conquest. "We should thank them in a way," said Navas, who now served as the liaison between the Marak and other species. "Thank who?" Dahan asked. "The old Marak," Navas explained. "If we hadn't invaded Earth, if you hadn't changed us, none of this would exist. Dozens of worlds would still be at war or under occupation." Dahan thought about this. "I suppose good can come from bad beginnings if we make the right choices." News arrived that other spacefaring civilizations had taken notice of the changed Marak Empire. Some approached cautiously, curious about a warrior race that had suddenly embraced peace. Others sent observers to learn more about the humans who had accomplished what no other species had managed. "You're becoming famous across the galaxy," Jiwoo told Dahan as they reviewed the latest diplomatic requests. "The humans who ended war without fighting one." "Not me." Dahan shook his head. "All of us. It took everyone working together to make it happen." On the 5-year anniversary of what humans now called Transformation Day, a monument was unveiled in Seoul, where the invasion had first been visible. It wasn't a statue of a warrior or a weapon. Instead, it showed human and Marak hands reaching toward each other. The simple inscription read, "They came as conquerors. They remained as friends. Together, we found a better way." Dahan stood in the crowd watching children, human and Marak, playing together near the monument. The Marak children had been born after the transformation, never knowing the warrior culture of their parents. "Do you ever wonder if we did the right thing?" asked Minji, standing beside him. "Changing an entire species without their consent?" Dahan watched the children play. "I used to, but then I see this. They're happy. We're at peace. The galaxy is healing from centuries of war." "The Marak chose violence first," Sung-hoon added. "We chose change instead of destruction." As night fell, stars appeared in the sky. Among them were lights moving steadily. Ships from a dozen worlds coming to Earth for the celebration. Once those lights would have brought fear, now they brought hope. Humanity had faced its greatest challenge and responded not with greater violence but with greater wisdom. They had made sure their enemies would never fight a war again, and in doing so, had changed the course of galactic history forever.